Hello, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be making a bag, and I am going to consider it a beach bag, but it could also be a market bag or any type of bag that you want. So to do this, I am using my H-hook or 5mm hook, and I am going to be using number 3 or DK weight yarn. I have 3 colors that I'm going to be using: blue, green, and orange. So this is cotton yarn. I consider it a number 3 yarn. I've already made another bag and I use worsted weight yarn and an eye hook. So you can use different types of yarn and hook sizes with this, but because this is number 3, I thought an H hook would be better. And the other one that I made, I just used acrylic yarn, but I had this cotton yarn, so I thought this might be nice to use for this project. Alright, so the directions would be the same depending on what hook or yarn type you use. So just pair your hook according to the yarn that you're using, and because this is number 3, I think an H hook will work really well. So we are going to be starting at the bottom of the bag and then working our way up. So we've got our slip knot on our hook, so let's get started. We're going to chain 2, and this is round 1. In the second chain from our hook, we're going to work 6 single crochet. So we have our 6 single crochet. So we are going to be placing a stitch marker in the last stitch. So I have just a scrap piece of yarn that I'm going to place. We will be working in continuous rounds, so stitch marker will help you know where your round ends and where it begins. Alright, so let's begin round 2. So round 2, we're just jumping right in. We're not going to be joining. We're going to work 2 single crochet in each stitch. So we will have 12 stitches. Alright, so I'm going to pull that guy out and work my last 2 stitches. So this is stitch 11 and stitch 12. So we have 12 stitches for round 2, and we're going to go place that stitch marker back in there to get ready for round 3. So if you're concerned about that hole, really easy fix. You just pull it closed and it's gone. Okay, so we're ready for round 3. So round 3, we're going to be working half double crochet. So we're going to be working 2 half double crochet in each stitch. So we're just jumping right in. So I've got my yarn over, and we're working those 2 half double crochet, and we're going to continue that all the way around. So we will have 24 half double crochet at the end of round 3. Okay, so we finished up round 3. We have 24 half double crochet. So now we're going to begin round 4. We're going to increase again, and we're jumping right in. We're working half double crochet. So we're going to work half double crochet in the next stitch and work 2 half double crochet in the next. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So half double crochet in the next, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. So we will have 36 stitches for round 4. Okay, so we finished up row 4 and we have 36 half double crochet. So row 5, we're going to work even because, as you can see, we're a little bit roughly. We want it to be we want it to be more flat on the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're just going to half double crochet all the way around. So 1 stitch in each, 36 stitches. Okay, so we finished up row 5. We have our 36 stitches. So let's begin row 6. We're going to increase again. So we're going to just jump right in with our half double crochet, just working 1, our second stitch we're working half double crochet, and that third one we're going to work 2 half double crochet. So it's 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, 2, the second stitch we're working 1 half double crochet, that third stitch we're working 2 half double crochet, and you're going to repeat this all the way around, and at the end of round 6 here you're going to have 48 half double crochet, and then round 7 you're going to just work even again, just half double crochet all the way around, just like we did for row 5. Okay, so we finished up round 7. We have 48 stitches, so let's begin round 8. We're going to increase again. So we're going to do it in a sequence of 4. So the first 3 stitches we're just working 1 half double crochet in each stitch. So there is that third stitch, and then in the fourth one we're going to pop in 2 half double crochet. So at the end of round 8 here we're going to have 60 stitches. So stitch 1, 2, 3, and stitch 4, 2 half double crochet stitches, and we just continue that all the way around for round 8, and then round 9 we'll work another even round. We'll just half double crochet all the way around. So I'm going to go do that and I will meet you back. Okay, so I finished up round 9. We have 60 stitches, so let's begin round 10. We're going to keep increasing in a sequence of 5. So in stitch 1 we're working half double crochet, stitches 1 through 4, so there's 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to pop in 2 stitches for stitch 5, and we're going to keep going around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stitch 5, popping in 2. So we will have 72 half double crochet at the end of this round. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we finished up round 10. We have 72 stitches, so let's begin round 11. We're going to increase again. We're not going to work even because it's going to start to curl up and I don't want it to do that yet. Alright, so we're going to do it in a sequence of 6. So the first 5 stitches we're going to work even. So 1 half double crochet in each, and again we're still using our stitch marker to mark our last stitch. Okay, so that is 5 stitches, half double crochet, 1 stitch in each, and that's 6th stitch. We're going to work 2 half double crochet. And we're going to keep going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stitch 6, 2 half double crochet, and we're going to continue to do that all the way around. So at the end of round 11 here you're going to have 84 stitches. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I finished up round 11. We have 84 stitches, so let's begin round 12. We're going to increase again. We're going to do it in a sequence of 7. So our first 6 stitches we're just working 1. Oops, I don't have my stitch marker in that last stitch. Better do that. So don't forget your stitch marker like I just did. There we go. We are back. So now we're going to go back and work in a sequence of 7. So 1 half double crochet in the next 6 stitches. Okay, so we've worked 6 stitches. In that 7th stitch we're going to work 2 half double crochet. And we're going to do that all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stitch 7. We're going to work 2 half double crochet, so we will have 96 stitches at the end of round 12 here. So I'm going to keep going and I will meet you back. So here's the bottom of my bag. So after round 12 we had 96 stitches, and then rounds 13 and 14 you're just going to half double crochet all the way around like we've been doing, and then at the end of round 14 you're going to join with a slip stitch, which I've already done, but let me just show you. I'll take it apart real quick. So this is my last stitch here. So I took out my stitch marker. I'm just joining with a slip stitch in that first stitch, and I'm pulling this, I'm giving myself a very long tail. I'm not cutting because we are going to be picking up this yarn in a bit. So I'm trying to save on some ends. So basically just kind of put a pause on that. I just pull it out so it won't unravel, and we are going to be working on our stars. So I have my orange and my green. I'm going to be alternating, so we can just start with the orange. We will be picking up the bottom of that bag shortly because this is a join as you go with the stars. All right, so for our first star, we're going to be making a slip knot. And we're going to chain 6. And in that first chain we made, we're going to slip stitch to form a circle. So here is our circle. So now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work 12 single crochet around this circle. So you're going to take your hook, insert it through that hole, pull up that yarn. So there's our loop. You're pulling up a loop, and we're going to work the single crochet. So we're going to continue. So your hook goes through the circle. You're going to pick up your yarn, pull it through, and work your single crochet. So we have 2, 3, 4, so there's 12. So you can see I just kind of pushed them back just to make more room. All right, so what we're going to do to complete round 1, so you're going to slip stitch in that first single crochet. And round 1 is complete. All right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to chain 2. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to be working around the single crochet. So you have your yarn over, you're going to put your hook through that hole, pick up a loop, and you want it to be a little bit more relaxed. You don't want it super tight. So you want to pull it up so it's about the length of that chain 2 that you made. So we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to continue yarning over, going back in the hole, picking up a loop until we have 9. So now we have 5, 7, 9. So every time you yarn over and you pick up a loop, you add 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to yarn over and pull through all 9 of those loops. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. So we worked our chain 3, and on the top of that we're going to slip stitch. So right on the top there, we're going to work a slip stitch. Now we are going to chain 2. now we're ready to work on the bottom of our bag. So we're going to go take that bottom, there it is, and this is the right side. So we're going to flip this over like that. So this is the wrong side of our bag. And right next to where we joined, so you're going to have your little star like that. So right next to where we joined, we are going to work a single crochet. So now we've attached part of our star, so now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to slip stitch back in there. So right on top of that puff that we made, now we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch back on top of our puff. And now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to slip stitch around these single crochets. So we have our chain 2, we're going to insert our hook through the hole. You're going to pick up that loop and work the slip stitch. And now we're ready to work the second part of, so there's going to be 6 points to our star. So this is the first. So now we chain 2 and we're doing the yarn over, inserting our hook through the hole, pulling up the loops. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, go back in. Now we have 5. Yarn over again, go back in. Now we have 7. Yarn over, go back in. Now we have 9. And we're going to yarn over, pull through all 9 of those loops. And now we chain 3 and slip stitch on top of that big puff that we made, and we're going to chain 2. So we're going to go on the bottom of our bag here. So here's where we worked that first single crochet. We're going to skip 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next one we work single crochet to anchor the part of our star. Now we chain 2 and we're going to slip stitch again on top of the puff. We're chaining 3 and slip stitch again. And now to complete that second point we chain 2 and we're going to slip stitch around those single crochets. So put your hook in there, grab your loop and work the slip stitch. So now we have 2. We want to have 6. So we're going to chain 2. So we have our chain 2. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up loops until we have 9. So we have 3, 5, 7, 9. And then yarn over, pull through all 9. Now we chain 3 and we're going to slip stitch on top of that puff. We're going to chain 4 and slip stitch in there. We're going to chain 3 and slip stitch again on top of the puff. Now we chain 2, and to complete the third part of our star we're going to slip stitch around. So this is the third point. We're going to repeat these directions until we have 6. So we have 4, we need to work 2 more. So you can kind of slide it down a little bit. It gets a little crunched, but you kind of want it to be crowded. It looks nice, I think, that way. Okay, so we have 5, so we've got 1 more to go. So just slide it over. So there's 3, there is 5, there is 7, and there is 9. Make sure you chain 3, slip stitch, chain 4, slip stitch, chain 3, slip stitch, chain 2. So we're going to slip stitch around. And now that we have 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to cut our yarn. So you need to cut your yarn in a specific way. Sometimes you can cut your yarn and just pull it out and it's going to be secure, but because we need to cut it and then feed it through the loop so it actually completes the stitch. So let me show you what I mean. So you'll cut, so I'm just leaving my hook in that loop. You're going to cut your yarn. So there's your end. So I'm just wrapping that around my hook, pulling it through the loop, and then you just pull it, and then that actually completes that final stitch. So now we have our first star attached. So now we're going to work the second one, and I'm going to use my green. So we're going to begin the same way we did the orange. So I'm going to get my slip knot going here, and we're going to chain 6. So we have our 6 chains. And this second star, so stars, there's going to be 8 stars. So stars 2 through 7 are going to be the same direction. So you're going to make, how we make the second star is going to be the same for stars 2 through 7, and you're going to attach them the same. So we have our 6 chains. We're going to work our chain 1, and we're going to work 12 single crochet around that chain. Okay, so we have our 12 single crochet. We're going to join in with a slip stitch in that first one, just like we did with the first star. And now we're going to get ready to work that first point there. So we are going to chain 2, just like we did with the first one, and we're going to work that puff stitch. So yarning over, going inside, put your hook in the hole, the center, pull up your loop, 3, 5, 7, get a fuzzy on there, let's get that off, and 9, yarn over, pull through all 9. Now we're going to chain 3, slip stitch in there. Now we chain 2, and we're going to be attaching to this star. So we have it like this, so to the right, I'm just turning it that way. And here is that chain 4. We're going to single crochet in that chain 4 to anchor the second star. So just insert your hook through the hole of that chain 4 and work a single crochet. And now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch on top of that puff, and we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch. And to complete that first point, we chain 2 and slip stitch around. And now we're going to work the second point. So we are chaining 2, working the puff, so yarn over, pull up the loop, 3, 5, 7, 9, yarn over, pull through all 9 of those guys, chaining 3, slip stitch, chaining 2. So now we're going to go to the bottom of our bag. So this is where we attached that first star. So the stitch next to it, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet to anchor the second star. So we've got that single crochet. So now we're going to continue. We're going to chain 2, slip stitch, back on top of our puff, chain 3, and slip stitch. And we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch around to complete that second point. Okay, so the second star will be attached in 3 spots. The first one was only attached in 2 spots. All right, let's continue with our third point. So chaining 2, working that puff, so we've got our 9 loops, chaining 3, let's work that slip stitch, chaining 2. Now we're going to attach back onto the bottom of the bag. So here's where we attach. We're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next. And now we're going to continue with our point. We're going to finish it, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 3, slip stitch, chain 2, and slip stitch around, and we work the fourth one. So after you're done attaching, you chain 3, then you chain 4, and chain 3, chain 2. So we're basically using basic stitches just to create our stars. It looks, I'd say, fancier than it really is. They're just chains and yarn overs and things, but it just gives a really pretty look. So don't overthink. As my kids say, it's not that deep. So we've got 5 petals, so now we're going to work the last one, or 5, it's not petals, points. They're more like stars than flowers. Okay, the final chain 2, wrap that around to work the slip stitch, and again, to cut the yarn, and you want to feed it through the loop on your hook to anchor that final point of your star. And now we have 2 stars attached. So we're going to continue repeating the directions for the second star up to, so stars 2 through 7, and then star 8 will be slightly different because we're going to have to attach it at 4 points instead of the 3. So I'm going to go and work on my other stars, and I'm going to alternate orange green. You could use a whole bunch of different colors. My other bag that I made with worsted weight yarn, the stars, I just used a bunch of scrap yarn to make my stars all different colors. Okay, so here we go. Here is my bag. We've got our 7 stars, and we need to attach the 8th star, and I've already started the 8th one. So I worked my center and I worked my first point up until we did the chain 3 slip stitch, and now we have the chain 2. So now we're going to be attaching the final star for this round. So what we're going to do is you're going to take this star here, that chain 4 space, we're going to single crochet in there, and we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch in there, and now we chain 3 and slip stitch, and to complete that point we chain 2 and work the slip stitch. And now we're going to start the second point, so we're chaining 2 and doing our yarn overs. So that's 3, 5, 7, 9, Alright, so we've chained 2. So now we are going to go and back to the bottom of the bag, and we're going to skip 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that next stitch, we work that single crochet, and then we complete the rest of that point. And now we need to start the third point. So we're going to chain 2. And we're going to skip 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we work a single crochet in the next one. And then complete that point. Okay, so now we need to attach the 4th point, because usually we only attached just at the 3, but we're going to do 4 now. So we're going to work the next point like we normally do. Alright, so we've chained 2, so now we're going to go to this star and we're going to find that chain 4 space and we're going to work our single crochet and then complete the point, and then we have to work 2 more after we're done this 4th one because we want to have 6 for our stars. Alright, so that 4th one is done, so we just work the 5th one. And now we'll just have one more point to go. And we're going to work that final slip stitch around, and then we need to cut. And again, we have to feed that yarn through that loop to anchor it there. So now we have the bottom stars attached to our bag. So remember where I said to not cut the blue, so we're going to be picking that up right now to get started on that. So we're kind of working the stars and the part of the bag at the same time. So I'm going to get my loop here. Okay, so I've got my loop on my hook. So what you want to do is, so this is the inside of the bag. These are your stars. So we're going to be working a mesh behind the stars. So this is going to be the right side of the bottom, so you just want to make sure you're starting in the right spot. So we're kind of going to work a couple rows of mesh and then we'll go back to working more stars. Alright, so to do that we're going to chain 1, and this stitch is right next to this star. We're going to work a single crochet. We're going to chain 3. You're going to skip 1 stitch. So this is the 6 stitches that we skipped. So the mesh, you're always going to do the same in those 6 stitches. So we chain 3, you're going to skip 1 stitch, you're going to single crochet in the next one. And then we're going to single crochet in that next stitch. And now we're going to chain 3 again. We're going to skip 1 stitch and single crochet in the next. So now we are next to a point of our star, and we have 4 stitches in between that we skip. So this section will be different than this section. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3, and you're going to single crochet in that next stitch. So you're going to have 2 single crochets next to each point of your star. And now we chain 3, and this is those 4 single crochets that we skipped. You're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. So now we're next to another point of our star. Now we're going to chain 3. So you're always going to be working chain 3s around the points of your stars. So now we skip that point, we're going to single crochet in the next. So now we are back to those 6 single crochet that we skipped. So we're in that section. So you have your first single crochet there, you're going to chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and then work 2 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. We're going to chain 3, skip the next stitch, and then work single crochet next to the point of the next star. And now we are back to the 4 that we skipped, so we're chaining 3, and we're going to skip that next point there. We're going to single crochet in the next. So this is those 4 single crochet, 1 2 3 4. So you're going to have a single crochet here and a single crochet here and a chain 3 in the middle. So we're working that single crochet, chaining 3, skipping those 2, and working the single crochet. And you're just going to keep doing that around. So now I'll do that. I'll repeat it one more time. So we're back to those 6 that we skipped. So we're chaining 3. So single crochet in that first single crochet of those 6. Chain 3. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next 2. So these would be the center stitches of those 6 single crochet, chain 3. Skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next, and then we will continue around. So you would chain 3, because we're now at the 4 single crochet. So in those 4, 1 2 3 4, single crochet in the next one. My ball has kind of got a mind of its own there. We're going to chain 3, skipping 2 stitches, and chain 3. So you're just going to repeat that around for the mesh, and we will get back to the stars, but I just find it's a little bit easier to work a couple rows of mesh then go back to the stars. And also I do recommend weaving in your ends, so I'm going to do that as well as I work this mesh around. So what I've been doing is I just take these tails and just kind of pull them a little bit, cinches the stars closed a little bit more, but I am going to weave in those ends as well, so it's less to do at the end. Okay, so I'm at my last chain 3 for round 1 of the mesh part of our bag. And then after you've worked that last chain 3, you're going to slip stitch in that first single crochet. So you're going to have 40 chain 3 spaces. So let's work round 2 of our mesh. So we're going to slip stitch in around that next chain 3 space. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to single crochet around that chain 3 space. Now you're going to chain 3, single crochet around that next chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet around that next chain 3 space. So here are our stars. They are going to be flipped up, so this will be the outside of our bag here, and then the mesh will be behind the stars, just so you can understand the construction a little bit. So I'm going to keep going here, just working chain 3 and then single crochet, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I am finishing up round 2 of the mesh part of our bag, so working that last chain 3 and then slip stitch in that first stitch. So what you're going to do is you're going to be repeating round 2 for a lot of rounds. We're working in the round, and while you're working on the mesh, then you also will be working on your stars kind of at the same time. So I like to work a couple rows of mesh and then I work some stars. So I'm going to show you how to do the next round of stars. So again, I'm just going to pull that loop out. So we're kind of like multitasking with this project. So now we're going to work on the first star of this. There's going to be 3 rounds of stars. So we're on the second round. So I've already started my first point of my star up to, I've worked a chain 3 slip stitch, now I've chained 2. So now we are going to attach the next round of stars. So what you want to do is you want to make sure, so this is the inside of our bag, so we want to turn it like that, and we're going to attach at one of these points here. So right here we're going to attach with a single crochet in that chain 4 loop there, and now we chain 2, slip stitch on top of that puff stitch, and now we chain 3, and like the first star at the bottom of the bag, we only attached in 2 spots, and that'll be the same for the first one of the second round and the third round. So the second round stars and the third round stars are the same. Alright, so we're going to finish up that point by chaining 2, slip stitching around, and we're going to start the second point. And now we work chain 3, slip stitch, chain 2. So now we're going to get ready to attach the next star. So you want to make sure when you're attaching, because it's going to be like this, so this is the wrong side, this is the outside, so you want to have the right sides facing. So don't overthink it, it's really not that complicated. Okay, so now we're going to attach on the next point here of our first star. So in that chain 4 space, we'll work that single crochet, and then we finish up the point by our chaining 2, slip stitching, and then we chain 3 and slip stitch and finish up. And then we just continue working the other 4 points of our first star here. Okay, so I finished up that first star of our second round of stars. So now we need to get ready to work stars 2 through 7 will be the same. So I've already started my first point working up to the chain 2. So now we're going to attach, this is the one we just made in that chain 4 space. We're going to work that single crochet and then complete the point by chaining 2, slip stitch on top of the puff, chain 3, slip stitch again on top of the puff, and chain 2, and slip stitch around our circle there, and we're going to begin the second point by chaining 2 and then working the puff. So we've got 3 loops, 5, 7, 9, pull through, chain 3, chain 2. Okay, so now we need to attach the second point. So we're going to go to the next point of those first round of stars and work that single crochet. And finish the point, chaining 2, slip stitch, so now we need to work our third point. So the second star through 7, you're going to be attaching at 3 spots. For the first one, you attach at 2, and then the last one, we will attach in 4 spots. All right, so let's begin the third point by chaining 2. Oops, got ahead of myself. Working chain 4. So we have our chain 3, slip stitch, and then we work chain 2, and we have to attach the next point. So now we're going to the next star here, and the very next point in that chain 4 space, working the single crochet, and then we finish it up by chaining 2, slip stitching, chaining 3, slip stitching, chaining 2, and slip stitch around. And then we continue by working points 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to keep going, finishing up my points of this star. So again, you're just going to keep working stars. So now it'll be 3 through 7, the same way you're going to be attaching. And also work a couple rows of mesh, you know, every couple. So you attach your stars and then work some rows of mesh. As I said, it's a multitasking project. Okay, so here is how we're looking so far. So you can see how I've been working on the mesh and also working on our stars. So for our second round of stars, I've worked my 7 stars, and we now need to attach the 8th star. So what we need to do, here is my 8th star, and I worked my first point up until the chain 2. I need to make that loop a lot smaller. So now we need to attach that one. Alright, so here is the spot where we need to attach. So this one will be attached in 4 points so the first one was attached by 2, the second through the 7th, they were attached by 3, and this 8th one will need to be attached by 4. Okay, so we're going to go and attach in that chain 4 space with a single crochet and chain 2 and work our slip stitch, and now we need to chain 3 and chain 2 to work the final part of that point around our circle. And now we're going to work the second point. So we'll chain 3, work the slip stitch, chain 2. Okay, so now we're going to go down here to that next point, and we're going to work that single crochet and then complete that second point by working the chain 2, slip stitch, chain 3, all right, so let's work the third point. Okay, so we worked the chain 2, and now we're going to go to that next unused point here of our star. So in that chain 4, work the single crochet, chain 2. All right, so we're going to finish up that third point, working that chain 3, chain 2, slip stitch around our circle. So now we need to start the fourth point and attach it. All right, so now we're ready to attach. So now we need to go to the first star that we made and attach at this point right here in that chain 4 space. And finish it up. And now we need to work the final 2 points, and then our 8th star will be done for our second round of stars. So we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch around, and then we need to cut our yarn. And again, we have to make sure we feed that tail through that final loop to complete the star. So now we have completed the second round of stars, and I've already woven in quite a lot of ends, just saves me some time at the end. And as you can see, here is the mesh underneath. It's coming along. So you can see here's the mesh. So 10 rounds cover up 1 star. So what you want to do is you're going to need to work another round of stars, and you're going to work round 3 of our 8 stars the same as we did for round 2. And you still want to continue to work your mesh. So the mesh, I think 30 rounds of mesh. Okay, so here is my bag. I have my mesh rounds done. I worked 30 rounds, so 30 rounds. And I am going to cut this yarn. I wanted to keep going with my blue to make the rest of the bag and the handle, but I'm not going to have enough yarn. So we're going to be switching to green. So I'm just going to cut this blue. And you can, use whatever colors that you want. So before we do the next step, what you're going to want to do, so here are all my stars. You want to make sure all of your stars, the ends are woven in, and which they are. So my ends are all woven in. So you just pull it up over the mesh. So there we go. My stars are pulled up. And I'm going to get my green. So that's why we worked the mesh part and the stars together, because you do want both of them done before we do the next step. So I'm going to attach my green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook, and you can do this wherever. So you're going to take one of the points of your star, and I'm just going to insert through this single crochet of our mesh, and we're going to be attaching this. So I've got my yarn, I'm pulling it through. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work a single crochet to anchor that on there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to single crochet all the way around. And we want to make sure we have 96 single crochet. That's what we ended with down here. So we want to make sure we have 96. So you're going to have to kind of eyeball it, because we have 40 chain 3 spaces. So then we have 40 single crochet. So if you just worked 1 single crochet in each chain 3 space and 1 single crochet in each single crochet, you're going to only have 80 stitches. So you do have to add more stitches in here and there to get to your 96. So just space it out. So I'll put 2 in here. And then you also do want a single crochet in all of the single crochets. So here I am ready to attach my next point, and I'm going to do it in the single crochet. So you just do that around, and again you want to make sure you have 96 stitches. So I'm going to go do that, and I will meet you back. Okay, so you can see I ended up switching back to the blue to stitch my 96 single crochet, but I still want to use green, so then I switched to green. So the reason why I did that is I just thought it looked a little messy seeing the green So this just makes it look neater and tidier. It's just a personal preference. But you can see that I stitched around those points, those chain 4 spaces to attach our stars over our mesh for our bag. All right, so now we're going to be working continuous rounds. So we're going to, if you are not changing colors, then what you want to do is you'll place a stitch marker in your last stitch and then just start single crocheting around. But because I did not, and I'm changing to another color, I'm going to chain 1. So this is round 2 of the top of our bag. And now we're just going to single crochet around, again 96 stitches. And we're going to do this for a total of 6 rounds. So this is round 2, so we have 5 more to go. So you can see now working with the green, it just looks cleaner. It's just that nice clean straight across. That's again just a personal preference, but when you get to your last stitch, use your stitch marker, because we're going to do what we did here. We're going to just keep working around and around and around so it looks seamless. So I'm going to go and work my 6 rounds. So this is round 2. So again, we after this one I'll have 4 more to go, and then at the end of your round 6 you will cut your yarn. So I'm going to go do that and I will meet you back. Okay, so I have my 6 rounds. So when you get to the end, we are going to join with a slip stitch in that first stitch to complete it. And then you cut your yarn. So you can see having that round of blue first and then adding the green, how much nicer that looks. It just looks a lot neater and cleaner there. Again, just a personal preference. So we are almost done our bag. So now we need to add our strap so that we can carry it. So what you want to do is you want to have it flat. So what you want to do is you want to have your bag flat like this. And you're going to take the one end, and where it is folded in that stitch, I'm going to place a stitch marker. So I have my stitch marker. I'm going to just put that in there just to mark that where it's creased there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to still use my green. So here is my stitch with the stitch marker. I'm going to count 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that 5th stitch from my stitch marker, I am going to attach my yarn to begin my strap. Alright, once your yarn is attached, you're going to chain 1. I'm going to single crochet right back in that stitch. And now we're going to work 10 more single crochet. So that is the center one. So there's going to be a total of 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pull that out. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So our strap is 11 stitches wide, so I just fold it like that so it's even, because the strap's going to go around here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're just going to be working, you're going to chain 1, and we're going to be working rows now instead of rounds. And we're going to single crochet in that first stitch and continue across. So I'm not sure how many rows yet I want to make, and then we will slip stitch across on the other side. So I'm going to go and work my single crochet rows. So again, you're just going to keep repeating row 2. Alright, so here is my strap. I worked 85 rows, so you can make your strap longer if you want, but I like how it looks at 85. So now I need to attach it on the other side. So you're going to go back to folding it again. And you want to make sure, so this side that we did, you want to fold it so it's nice and even, like that. So now we're going to go to this side. I'm going to grab my stitch marker again, and wherever it is creased, so this stitch right here, I am going to place my stitch marker because we need to attach the strap on the other side. Now you can sew it, but I just prefer to stitch it right on. I don't like to sew if I can avoid it. Okay, so we're going to get the other side of our strap. So I did not cut my yarn. And I do really like it in the green. I wasn't sure, but I actually think it looks really nice. I was going to do it in blue, but I did not have enough. Okay, so here is my strap. So we want to get set up to attach. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch across. So this is our center stitch. So you're going to count 5 like we did, and you want to have it like this, so because it doesn't look nice the other way. All right, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this stitch right here on the bag is where we're going to work that first slip stitch. So we've got our chain 1 ready to go, and we're going to insert our hook in the first stitch of our last row and then onto the bag. So let me just go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here, and we're going to slip stitch. And we're going to keep going across. Attaching the other end. So it will look slightly different than single crocheting, but I don't think it's very noticeable at all. And if you really want it to look both sides exactly the same, what you could do is you could chain 12 and then work your 85 rows and then just sew each end onto your bag. But again, we're trying to avoid ends and extra work. Okay, so now I have slip stitch across. I'm going to cut my yarn. Because we slip stitched across, I am going to feed it through like we did on the stars, just so it's a little bit more secure. And now you can see it attached on the other side, and it doesn't look too much different from there. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to weave in your loose ends. And if you want to block your bag, then you'll be all set. So I did make another one using worsted weight yarn. So here it is. Here is the other one with worsted weight. And I tried to use up a lot of scrap. So you can see I used different colors. And I used an eye hook or a 5.5 millimeter hook to make this one. So you can definitely see the difference in sizes. But everything else was the same. Like there's 30 rows, there's 3 rows of the stars, there's 30 rows of the mesh. I also did 85 rows for the strap. I did 11 single crochet across for the strap, attached it the same way. So it's fun to play around with different sizes and hooks, and you can achieve different size bags. But I'll definitely be using these this summer, or even for a market bag, or just a whatever bag. I think they're both super cute, really happy with it. I mean, you could also sew a lining inside of it if you wanted to, if you like to sew. I don't. but you could do that as well. You could definitely do a lot of different things. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.